Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Matthew. Welcome to day 46 on Project 100. On my way to my first 100K with trading and sharing the journey here with you guys live on YouTube, school, Instagram, wherever you guys follow me. Today, I want to keep things a little bit shorter since the last time I uploaded a video. Not a lot of things changed. Today, I want to share with you guys a very interesting concept that I think for some of you will be very beneficial, especially for the people that struggle creating clarity and understanding in their endeavor, whatever they try to solve. You're coming up with issues, and sometimes you just have no clarity about what to do, missing information, feelings, struggling to behave a specific way. And today's video is essentially about that, for trading specifically. And I wanted to introduce you guys to one of the nicest notions that I've heard in 2025, next to move mountains, which is 3D experiences. I think this was from a podcast I heard from Chris Williamson. I think it was with Alex Hermosi together, as per usual. And he was sharing that he was having another podcast with somebody else. I think it was Sam Altman. And Sam Altman was, or Tim Ferriss actually, and he was telling him, like they were talking about the book, and they were talking about freedom, and like be able to say fuck you to everybody. Hey, I'm going to do my own stuff, and everything made sense to Chris. And at the end of the podcast, Tim Ferriss told him, "Hey, let's go do surfing," and he was like, "What do you mean, right now?" Or it was wakeboarding, I think, and he was like, "Yeah, let's go. We are free to do that, right?" And then he was like, "Sure, I'm pretty busy, but let's do it." And then he went with him. And during the surfing, they were like on the boat and they were talking. And this is where Chris realized, or this is like kind of my perspective on that. This is not necessarily how he said that, but this is how I interpreted this. That when the situation happened, he finally understood what it means to be free. The decision-making process around being free. But he only got to that point of actual understanding when he actually lived it. So there is a discrete difference between reading something in the books, watching a podcast, watching videos like this one, and thinking, yeah, I understand that, I've heard about that or whatever, and be like, oh, okay, I know what I have to do, rather than just having the 3D experiences. The 3D experiences, per definition, or more vividly explained, means basically you live what you learn. So it's kind of like the idea of learning by doing, learning by trial and error, rather than just listening to what somebody tells you and doing it. Just because the idea, when you get a 3D experience, you get from a multiple perspective, with a lot more clear vision and pattern recognition, so you can keep that learning way more, way more long-term, just because you tie it in with an emotion. Emotions can be magnificent to reestablish new behaviors, but also to keep old behaviors running. So yeah, essentially transferring this notion to trading, I wanted to share with you guys a very interesting thing, which is essentially written down here, which is very invisible. I have to get a new pen, but essentially the 2 weeks versus 1 day that I had the last 2 weeks and yesterday. So the last 2 weeks, I had, I think, a total of, I'm not quite sure exactly the numbers, but it's right around there, 15 to 17 trades. 5 of them were break even, and the rest was losers. 12 losers, no winner, nothing, not even a small bit. And when you look at that, you could say, yeah, it's natural, that happens when you trade. It's just like, for the people you know, the people that know a little bit about trading, they're like, it's a probabilistic, like it could happen when you have a win rate of 50% over 100 trades. It's very probable that this happens. But there's the difference of experiencing it or just thinking, okay, this is maybe going to happen, and not feeling it. The big difference is when you are in the emotion, in the experience, you have the emotion. If you think about it, reading a book, you have no emotions. You cannot really understand what this actually means operationally, because, or deep down in detail, because there are no emotions involved. So what this essentially teach me was, and in the context of that, yesterday was actually a day where I had 2 winners, and both of those winners made up for all the losses that I have here and the break evens with the fees that I have to pay plus some. That means only one day accounted for a major pivot into denying all of those losers and ending up in profit. And currently, as of right now, the 7th of October, we are in profit. Hallelujah. The first time I'm ever in profit trading as per a month, which is funny. But that's also cool. But specifically here, that's a very interesting notion that you can be losing day after day. You wake up, you go into the day and you know, oh, fuck, yesterday I lost. I have to do that again. Shit. And this is where the challenge is. This is what it actually means to go through rough sketches and to go through losing trades and still be persistent with precise execution. And the most interesting thing is, I knew that I'm currently in this position. I still did mistake. I still did one mistake. I don't remember which one specifically it was, but I did one mistake. And I lost, I think, a little bit of money. Not big. It wasn't like it was one loser out of those two. Not a huge part. But still, if I would have gotten rid of this mistake, I would have gotten even more profits in retrospect. So those whole things accumulate, not only in a weekly period like that, but also in a monthly period, in a yearly period. The decisions you make over a year might be completely different to the ones you have in a daily and weekly level, because the consistency matters so much more, because it weighs more, because the sample size is bigger on the mistakes. So it also accounts for more money in total, in absolute terms. So that's just something very important that came up to me. And yeah, I wanted to share this with you guys, since I think a lot of people actually think they understand some specific notions, but they didn't actually live it. And when you live it, and here is the actual instruction out of that, or the operational behavior change. When you live through that moment, you can say, okay, this is normal. The only thing I control is be consistent and do this for like a month. And at the end of the month, just reevaluate, review. Did I actually really follow all of my rules? Are my rules perhaps shitty? But the only thing that has to be done is being consistent in a weekly, in a monthly basis, maybe even on a daily basis, just so you can control the variables you're actually testing. So yeah, that has been essentially one of the frames that I came up with very vividly towards myself. And now we're actually plus $40 and up. So it's like, I think 2 or 3 trades in profit. So I can, with that, technically lose 2 or 3 trades and I can still be in profit, which is awesome. I think this is really great result. And yeah, that has been essentially it. It's day 46, project 100. Just wanted to share with you guys the difference of 3D experiences versus just learning experiences while reading or listening to instructions, just because they are way more deep and way more nuanced. And this is, I think, also where the wisdom comes from when you want to be a wise trader, let's say. You have to go through experiences. This is essentially the key frame out of that. Yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Cheers.